Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Friday, and all of our guests today, including Thomas Drance, standing by. Is he back home from California? He is. Thomas Drance from The Athletic, standing by. Brought to you by our title sponsor, Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca. Thomas, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you? How's the ankle or the foot? What's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting better. It's, been 3 weeks, so I'm able to, do some resistance bands exercises to strengthen it. It's going to be a process here, but I'm getting better, and I'm back home, which is great.
Can we get a close-up of that by any chance? Actually,
you want the ankle?
No, show us. No, seriously.
We're good.
Do you got a cast on it?
No, just taped up.
Show us the ankle.
No, we're good. I was half joking. All right, let's start with the
Rick.
Go.
Rick, you guys only ever shoot me from the chest up. I'm not wearing pants. I'm not showing you my
Whoa, if you're not wearing pants, man, are you serious? You're not wearing pants?
I'm wearing shorts.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you and Rick have something in common.
A love for a cool breeze.
Yeah. And Derek, too. That's another story. All right, let's start here. So much with the Canucks, Thomas. But last night, or yesterday, after our show, 3 years, $3 million AAV for Tyler Myers. Your opinion of that deal?
Look, there's always going to be risk when you sign a 34-year-old to a deal with term, and 3 years is relatively significant term. I mean, that's Myers will turn 35, 36, 37 in the 3 years that the Canucks have paid for. I also think the cap hit comes in at a level that, reflects the fact that if Myers had gone to the open market, I don't think, something like $4 million times 3 years was out of the question, especially after Dylan DeMello signed for what he signed for. This is what happens sometimes with players like Myers. He's loyal and he wanted to stay, and the Canucks wanted to keep him. But in order for that to matter, in order for, the fact that his family is settled in Vancouver and spends their off season in the interior, and that he wants to keep being part of what this club is building, in order for that to all matter, you do still have to get your foot in the door in terms of offering something that at least reflects his stature in the league and, his quality as a player and his contributions last season. So, I don't think it's a hometown discount that's as steep, perhaps, as what Canucks fans may have been hoping for when the hypothetical of would you extend Tyler Myers into an affordable deal was sort of being bandied about 4 months ago in this market. But, I think there's no question that Myers could have gotten an awful lot more had he hit the open market. Both sides obviously wanted to get it done, and the Canucks moved to make it happen yesterday in the wake of the Ilya Mikheyev trade.
Yeah, really good work to get Joshua Myers done. Okay, so where do we go from here now? Because you still have a really good, I think you told me last night, $15.5 million to play with, 4 forwards and a goalie.
In and around there.
In and around there. Okay, so where do you go now? You still have Nikita Zadorov. Okay, you don't want him to hit the market. We don't know what's going to go on there. We'll find out. They're going to talk this weekend at the NHL draft in Vegas. So what do you do with the rest of the money?
Well, this is where things are going to start to get tight, especially because the Canucks are fully intent on taking big swings on Monday in free agency, right? I think they want to add a top 6 difference-making, creative, established, goal-scoring forward into the mix. And why not? I mean, you find the right top-of-the-lineup piece, and I do think the Canucks a credible case can be made that they'd move pretty close to the front of the line in terms of preseason favorites in the Western Conference. That's sort of the leverage of adding the type of difference maker that could be available on Monday, and that the club is excited, about the prospect of pitching come Monday. So I still think that's going to be the top priority here, and they have the space to do that and still add, 2 or 3 additional pieces to the lineup. Do they have the space to do that and extend Zadorov to a fair market deal and still fill out their lineup? I think that's probably where it gets a little tricky. Maybe it's a $7 million player or a $6 million player, then maybe it works. But, you are going to face some tough choices here with what remains of your cap space. You still need to do a backup goaltender. Some intrigue now in the mix in terms of how exactly the Canucks will do that, complicating matters further, right? It's not as simple as, or it doesn't appear to be as simple as like Seelov's $800K, the way I think we were all bookending it, sort of assuming that it would play out when we were doing some modeling, a few months ago or a few weeks ago, even earlier this week, even. So, they're going to face some tough choices here, but I do think the club's eyes are trained on making a big swing if they can pull that off. And I think they should be. I think that's the sort of piece, that's the sort of addition that this club really needs to elevate itself, given the ambitions of this club following, a 50-win campaign.
Okay, so Gensel reports close to Carolina. Reinhart reports close to the Florida Panthers. So all of a sudden, here's some big targets. They may not be there on July 1st. So now you got to go into a pool of players that are not in the $8, $9, $10 million range. Who could they get now if Gensel and Reinhart are not there?
Yeah, well, and I think all of these guys, like Steven Stamkos, going to have a big market. Tyler Toffoli going to have a lot of interest. Chandler Stevenson going to have a lot of interest. Teuvo Teravainen going to have a lot of interest, right? So, even sort of the Plan B names, as it were, and I think very highly of some of the players I just listed. Even those players are likely going to get bid up pretty significantly. Once they get to market. So. It isn't going to be easy. No, it never is to graft top talent into the lineup. To this point, though, right? Reinhart and Gensel aren't done as of this recording, right? That can change in a hurry. We all know that, right? Everything changes hour by hour at this time of year in the NHL. We'll see. Like, I do think there's, those top of the market names are sort of the ones that I think the Canucks could most use. Like, I don't think they just need a top six forward. I think they need a top line star scorer. And really, once you get past Reinhart and Marchessault and Gensel, I don't think there's any other players on the market that really match that description. There's like good top six guys who could play a top line role, but are they top line drivers the way those three are? I sort of am skeptical. So, if you have to pivot though, right? This team does have some assets to play with on the trade market. There is a lot of smoke around some players that would match that description, top line, established scoring winger, sort of percolating on the trade market around the league at the moment. And I think the Canucks are going to have to be flexible and creative if Plan A, adding one of those star level players without the acquisition cost that comes into trade because they hit the open market and unrestricted free agency, that's the obvious Plan A. And if Plan A doesn't come to pass, that'll be a test of this organization's sort of creativity, their ability to pivot. And, with what we've seen from them the last 18 months, with what we've seen from them this week, that ability to pivot seems to be a strength. It's just, that's the NHL, right? You're going to have to make lemons out of stones if things play out against you over the course of this long weekend.
I haven't heard lemons out of stones before, but I think I get the idea. Hey, Thomas, Quinn Hughes wins the Norris. What's the next step for him? Where can his game actually get better?
Well, I thought the shot was sort of number one going into this past season. When I talked about where Quinn Hughes can get better 12 months ago, it was the shot. And he scored 17 goals this year, and he completely revamped his approach to playing attacking hockey as a shooter. He stopped taking point shots, right? Like a vast majority of his shots came from, or a much higher proportion of his shots anyway, came from middle distance, came from attacking downhill, down sort of that left flank. He developed this drag shot tool that was phenomenal. I mean, you think about the overtime winner he scored over Ilya Sorokin. You think about the goal he scored on Mackenzie Blackwood. You think about all those wrist shots that he was taking over the course of this year that just weren't in his bag 12 months ago. And when you see a player begin to hit this sort of cliff where their game is really evolving and growing really rapidly, I always think that's an exciting thing. There's a lot of different tools that I think Hughes is working on that he's yet to really integrate into his game, and that he's been working on for a couple of years, but that I think we might see expressed on the ice next year. Dekes even, like sort of counters to some of the moves that we saw this year. Like a move coming down that downhill side where he tries to go 5-hole on the goalie as the goalie transitions into a reverse VH. Like, I think that's on his radar as something where he thinks he can get a couple goals shooting like that. I don't think 20 goals is out of the question for this guy. So I still think there's another layer that he can hit as an attacking option. And then obviously his ability to drive play, his ability to control the game, keep the puck on a string. I mean, it's the most important engine that this team has at 5-on-5. It certainly was last season, and I think it's going to be in the future. I mean, this is a very special player. This is a guy with a chance to be the single best defenseman on the planet and sustain that level the way he hit this season. I think he's that type of superstar. And the fact that he's just getting better, the fact that, every year, right, it was like his defensive game was an issue. He addressed it, right? His shot, he wasn't scoring goals. He addressed it, scored 17 this year, won the Norris Trophy. When you've got a competitor who's thinking about the game like this, right, who's going and visiting with a nutritionist and severely curbing their diet, who's giving up alcohol because he doesn't think he can play at the elite level that he wants to, that he demands of himself. If he's having a good time here and there, to be thinking about how to add tools and weapons and address weak points in his game and make them strengths. That's who this guy is now, right? Like that's who this young man has become, wearing the captain's C in Vancouver. I'm excited to see what's next, right? Like, this guy's been worth the price of admission since the moment he entered the league, but now we're into a different phase of his career, one that I think is, even more impressive as he elevates so rapidly and is still young enough, at the age of 25, where there's still some runway for him to graft even more tools into his game. This is going to be really fun to watch next season and going forward.
And now there's been some team success. Take care of that ankle and put on some pants. Right? There's your
Thanks,
weekend.
boys.
There's your weekend project.
Put on some pants. Put on some sweats. Put on some sweats.
Yeah. See you, boys.